somebody had managed to get into the gate. Somehow the dogs didn't bark. I still don't know how that happened. Hey gang, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about something I probably should have talked about a long time ago, and it's really revolving around the real reasons that I moved from the province to the city in the Philippines. When I did, I've kind of been hesitant to talk about this subject, but I think it's something that I do need to get out there and to talk about, just for anybody else who would be similarly situated, and things you need to think about as far as security and safety. Not just in the Philippines, but really anywhere that you're going to be in the world. So I'm going to talk about that in this video and just kind of spell that out. Also, we'll give some explanations as to the abruptness of how quickly that I left the province without really announcing anything. So just in case this is your first time here on the channel, I'll give you a little bit of background about what I'm talking about here today. When I first moved to the Philippines back in March of 2022, I was living in the province of Davao del Sur in the southern Philippines. Specifically, I was living in Digo City, which is a great place. I love the town. I love the province. It's a wonderful place. I very much enjoyed my time there. But because of the nature of what I do for this hobby of YouTube, I always am extra careful wherever I'm at, whether I'm living in Serbia, whether I was in Albania or Thailand or in the Philippines, of still protecting certain parts of my privacy so that I can protect my family. So one thing is that if you will go back through any of my other videos, going back through no matter what country I was in, you never see where I'm living or even the vicinity of where I'm living until after I've already left. So I would do like an apartment tour or a neighborhood tour, but I would not release that footage until usually I was out of the country on to the next country, or at least that I had moved on to somewhere else in that country. And the main reasons for that I do that was for safety's sake, because, you know, millions of people have watched my channel now at this point. And, you know, for the most part, all those people are great. You know, they're being entertained, they're getting some good information, and, you know, that's great. But there is a small percentage of the population that is, shall we say, crazy, for lack of a better term. And those people will like try to track you down. And I was a lawyer back in the United States, and I had this happen, that people would somehow find out where I lived, clients and stuff, and show up. I had this happen twice, actually. Just inappropriate things, inappropriate times. And one time literally showed up on the day after Christmas. I mean, the courts are closed for the rest of the year. There's nothing I can do for you anyway. And they show up at my house with my kids, and that's just unacceptable, you know. And you don't want that invasion of your privacy, but you also don't want just everybody to know where you live when it's people that you've never met and you don't even know. So anyway, I'll get to the point. Just one sec. This cat is going dumpster diving. How funny is that? He knows I've spotted him. He's been like following me around the park. Now he notices that I see him, so he's taken off. Okay. Anyway, to the point. The main reasons that we were going to be leaving and going to Davao City, where I'm at now, really, we were going to do that anyway. It's just we were going to hold off for a couple of months, finish getting settled, wait until the new year, and then go into the city, because we needed access to the airports, because I was going to be traveling in and out of the country, going back to the United States. There were just a lot of reasons that it was going to be much more convenient to live in the city, more reliable internet, utilities, things like that than they were. Again, I love the province. I enjoyed living there, but just because of the nature of what I do and what my wife does, it was much more convenient to be located here in the city. And so we did that. So that brings us to what happened. So let me preface this just a little bit about precautions that I took. So I didn't broadcast, obviously, where I was living when I was in Digos. That never made it to my channel. There's footage that I've released since then that would let you know at least the proximity of there, but definitely not while I was living there. And I, was very careful about letting people know or not letting people know exactly where I was living. So what happened was one night, it was early evening hours, it was not quite yet dark. My wife went out on the front porch, and we lived in our house had a gate, had dogs, all the nine works as far as protecting it from strangers, but the gate was unlocked during the day while we were home. Well, somebody had managed to get into the gate. Somehow the dogs didn't bark. I still don't know how that happened. And they placed a very expensive envelope, a plastic type envelope with probably 30 pages of documents handwritten in it. All was in English. None of the neighbors got this. This was obviously a special package that was meant for me. And it was a series of writings that was basically, it was essentially a theory or proof that the government in the Philippines was somehow involved with the pandemic and covering stuff up. And I mean, it was a huge conspiracy theory thing that this person was trying to get to me. I don't know. It was nuts. But the more important thing was this person had figured out where we lived. And again, they apparently were just trying to give me information, I suppose. But I didn't want this type of person knowing where I lived. That spooked my wife, and she wanted to go ahead and speed up the moving almost immediately to go ahead and get out. And so we were already looking for places. We had actually gone out and toured several places, and we pulled the trigger and went ahead and did it about a month and a half early. We were probably going to wait until the first of the year, but we went ahead and did that. And so again, even with all the precautions that I've made to prevent that from happening, and fortunately nothing bad happened to anybody, but people were still able to find out. Now this is a town that has over 100,000 people in it, but being able to locate the Kano or Kanoi, the American, in that big of a town did not prove to be that much of an obstacle. And so as near as I can tell, probably what happened is you could have gone around, because obviously I took tricycles sometimes to get home when we were shopping or doing things like that. You could have gone around to the tricycle drivers and maybe found one eventually that recognized a picture of, yeah, I've dropped that person off once or twice. This is where they live. I don't know that that's what happened. Could be somebody sees you out, on my bike and they follow me all the way home. I don't know. It could be any of those things, but the point of the matter is because I was a foreigner, not because of YouTube necessarily, but because I was a foreigner, I was easily able to be found and identified, even in what I would consider a fairly large city like Digos. It would be a large city in America, maybe not necessarily here in the Philippines. So that's just something to be aware of, is that if you are a foreigner coming here, you are going to be noticed. Again, I don't know if that was YouTube or just me being a foreigner that happened with, but I want to put that out there to realize that if this person had been someone that wanted to mean harm and had found that out where I lived, that, that would have been much easier to do than what I had originally thought. Now, living in a large city like Manila or Cebu or Davao City, probably no one cares, and it's not going to be nearly as easy. So, precautions that I take here, I always drive at least a 10-minute drive away from where I live. I make sure that I'm never filming anywhere in the vicinity of where I live. And, if I'm meeting people in public for the first time, I do that, no matter who they are. I'm going to meet them at a neutral location, a coffee shop, whatever. Because 99% of the time, people who are meeting with you, or that you meet in the Philippines or in Serbia or the United States or anywhere, are nice people, they're good people, no one means you harm. But there is that very small 1% chance that you're going to meet somebody that does not mean good things to happen to you. All right, that's the story. I don't know that that's helpful to anybody or not. I did want to share that because I've been holding it in. It's probably something that I needed to put out there as an explanation as to why we abruptly moved. All the other reasons that I'd given before why we were going to move were absolutely true. It's just this incident did speed things up. And by the way, we never found out who did it. I have no clue. They never contacted again. So anyway, all right, if you like this, subscribe, and so you can find me again, and do a thumbs up. We got a plane, huge plane coming in. And I'll see you in the next video.